And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents here on Amazon Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again for another great guest. We're excited to welcome to our program today Chris A. Matthews. He's a relationship expert and author of two books that I've had an opportunity to be able to read. One of them is a Kindle edition. It's called Six Tips for Finding Your Relationship Fix. You guys can see it there, as well as Finding Your Relationship Fix. I have the print edition of this one. You all will see both of them in the Amazon carousel below. You can be able to click on those and be able to find out more information about them and get your own copy during our conversation. We'll talk to Chris not only about the work that he does, but also what it's been like for him to help others and some of the tips he hopes you're able to take as we're kind of beginning this series of conversations here on Amazon Live. You guys have any questions or comments, feel free to be able to drop those in. We'll be able to bring those in during that conversation. But Chris, welcome to the program, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, the pleasure's definitely all mine. This is going to be a lot of fun. This is one of those topics, Chris, you and I were talking about it in another platform that I typically don't talk a whole lot about, but it's one that is very popular, and this is definitely an important conversation. I wanted to talk about the books. In particular, I'm going to start with the Kindle edition. And I should say for our audience, as you guys will see there in the carousel there at the bottom of your screen, it's only $2.99. You guys can go ahead and get this one. It's 6 tips for finding your relationship fix. You guys can see it there. What has it been like for you, Chris, in this work that you do to be able to meet couples where they are and to help them get where they want to go?
Well, one of the things I'm hearing is couples desire tools. They want to be able to have practical steps that they can follow. And the Kindle book that you just showed, it allows me to help couples get to those destinations a lot quicker because they're principles. And when you think about a principle, it's something that's going to be applied across all types of relationships. So it's been
Right.
amazing to be able to hear feedback from couples that are using the tools and seeing results in their relationships.
And what I thought was so interesting, the reason why I wanted to start with the Kindle edition, for those who are just being introduced to you, Chris, is that for one, you give a whole lot of your story in the in the Kindle edition as well. We find, I mean, we've all heard about love at first sight. You talked about that was not necessarily the case for you
Mhm.
with your wife, but I love the fact and I think the honesty that you present in so many ways about forgiving and not forgetting. I mean, there's so many
Mhm.
different elements that you bring up. What was it like for you to kind of look at your own path and then think about what has worked for you and how it could help other people?
Yeah, experience is one of the greatest teachers. And
Yeah.
I've fell in love with my wife. We've been together 16 years, 13 married. And I realized that each year we're learning new things. And I use the analogy about how with relationships, when you meet somebody that's been in a relationship a little bit longer, they're able to go into the future and tell you what it can be like on the other side.
Hmm.
So in the book, I share about the progressions of the different lessons that I've learned, not only as a clinician, but as a relationship partner myself. And
Right.
those lessons really evoke hope. Sometimes people just need to hear, hey, it will be okay. And after
Yeah.
reading the book, you'll just have an infusing, you'll be infused with hope that you can make it and will make it in your relationship.
Yeah. Have you always known that this was the work that you were meant to do, Chris?
Yes, even as a kid, I just recall being that person who was able to listen in a non-judgmental fashion,
Hmm.
whether it be a friend, even parents, relatives would come share something with me, and they felt comfortable knowing that they weren't going to be judged. And that led me into the field to be able to hear stories. And I take it as a privilege. I'm humbled every day to be in a session where someone is conveying their deepest secrets and desires around something as important as a relationship with their
Yeah.
significant other.
Right.
I don't take it for granted at all.
And I love the fact, as we stay on the Kindle here in the 6 tips for finding a relationship fix. The other thing that you talk about is something that is not that we don't normally say, Chris,
Mhm.
but the way you explain it is really fascinating. That is the whole idea of forgiving and not forgetting.
Yeah.
And I love that. So talk to us about that principle because I like the way you kind of talk about it. For one, about recognizing hurt, but also understanding then how to deal past the hurt. Talk to us about that.
So a true apology is really your desire or ability to want to understand your partner. And
Hmm.
an apology is the other side of wisdom in terms of when you know better, you can essentially do better, but your partner has to believe that you know better as well. So you don't necessarily forget as the person who was betrayed or hurt. You're not going to forget. It's similar to that scab or that wound. When it first occurs, it hurts. Over time, it'll heal and it won't have any pain associated, but you'll always be able to look back and know where that scab or scar came from. And it's the
Yeah.
same in relationships, especially with cheating or betrayals. You can get past it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to ever forget about it. And you don't want to
Yeah.
forget about it. That reminder is what keeps the person accountable from not making you feel that thing again.
I want to read something that you wrote actually to that point, Chris. Again, from the Kindle book, and again, I have it highlighted on the Amazon side there beneath us. The Kindle edition. You write this about awareness. After both partners have gained the necessary understanding needed for forgiveness, they will then enter the awareness phase. The awareness phase can also be called the decision phase because during this time, the hurting partner makes a choice. The hurting partner chooses to believe that the offending partner will not engage in the same pain provoking action or accepts the belief that the offending partner is incapable of changing and will hurt them again. That is not an easy place to be in.
Mhm.
And there are different reasons that after doing the show over the years, Chris, I've seen men and women stay in relationships because of convenience. It could be financial reasons they decide to stay, could be because of
Mhm.
family or perception, or not want to be seen as a failure. But how important is that decision to come from a genuine place, especially if they're going to be able to move forward and heal going forward?
So that decision is something that the partner has to live with every day.
Yeah.
So you mentioned a lot of good points. You may stay in a relationship because of money. Money comes and goes. You may stay in a relationship because of personal beliefs or what others might think of you. At the end of the day, those others don't have to live in that relationship with you, in that partner.
Mhm.
Those others don't have to be captivated in that space of negativity if that's what's presented. Those others don't have to be in that space of guilt or doubt that might linger. So the person has to be willing to look inside themselves and know what they can and can't live with.
Yeah. Such a great point. So, talk to us about the feedback here, Chris. What has it been like for you, not only in your face-to-face engagements that you're able to have and working with people, but also just some people like here on Amazon Live or on the other platforms that are joining us. I appreciate our friends over there on LinkedIn. I'm sorry if I forgot to call you guys out earlier. That maybe just joining us online who may buy the book and read it and get something from it. What has that been like for you to hear that feedback?
The feedback's been good because people are seeking tools and strategies they can apply. A lot of times
Hmm.
when you read certain books, it might be great moments of aha, but what about the application? So I'm hearing a
Yeah.
lot of people saying this is great because you're able to apply the material versus just something that makes you feel good by reading it. You're able to actually have a plan or steps in place in order to reach a particular goal or outcome. So that's the feedback I'm hearing.
Such a great point. For those who are just tuning in, either on the Amazon Live side or other affiliates, you're watching Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm joined today by relationship expert and author Chris A. Matthews. We're talking with him about the work he's been able to do, but also the people he's been able to help, not only in person, but also in his books. I was just referencing the Kindle edition of his book, Six Tips for Finding Your Relationship Fix. You guys can see it there. I'm going to move on, Chris, to the book you and I discussed in a previous conversation that's also available in print as well as a Kindle edition. That is Finding Your Relationship Fix, the 4 reasons couples seek counseling. Our audience can see it there. So talk to us about this book. What you kind of shared those 6 tips in the Kindle edition. What led you to write this book?
So finding your relationship fix, and it's also available on the Audible as well. I believe
Hmm.
Audible is an Amazon platform for audiobooks.
Hmm.
That book is the cornerstone of 4 major principles that I look at as a counselor when couples come in. And those principles are ensuring that you and your partner both feel safe, heard, understood, and cared for. After conducting thousands of hours of therapy, being a relationship partner myself, I was able to compartmentalize all the issues that couples bring into therapy underneath those 4 major cornerstones, which are feeling safe, heard, understood, and cared for. The book allows you to go through the different common issues that couples have and identify the ways that you can actually apply therapeutic approaches to solving your own issues and concerns Or if you're in therapy, you can use the book as a guide as well to help expedite the therapeutic process. So you can go into therapy and tell your clinician exactly where you want to start and exactly where you need to do the work.
Chris, I want to bring up something from the book in chapter 3, reason 3, to feel understood. I want to read what you said at the beginning, but the point I want to get to is something that I think is an interesting thing that I hadn't thought about quite the way you wrote it that I wanted to discuss with you. But you say this: feeling understood by your intimate partner creates security because when your intimate partner understands you, it is easier for you both to develop mutual interest and concerns because your words, thoughts, and feelings are in alignment. That ties in with this interesting point that you talk about that I think is really interesting when it comes to working together. And it's from provision 4 that you mentioned in this chapter, sharing responsibility for each other's well-being. You say the ability to care for your intimate partner's health, happiness, goal attainment, and overall well-being is present in relationships that stem from understanding. These couples understand that there is value in covering each other's blind spots. I thought that was an interesting thing because, we hear the cliches all the time about being one. Of course, that's biblical too,
Mhm.
but we know that unfortunately, not all couples are that way. But why is that a strength for couples, Chris, to make sure that they are in that alignment so they can be able to be that type of protection and security?
Yeah, so that work that you just read is based off of the research from Robert Wise's 6 provisions of understanding in relationships.
Mhm.
And when you have the ability to feel secure and safe, and you can not only hear your partner but know why they said what they said, why they do what they do, you're now able to see the X-ray underneath their intentions. And sometimes when you are communicating with your partner, you just want to know they care. And it
Yeah.
may not be the logic, it's really about the feeling.
Mhm.
So that is so important to connect with who your partner is and understanding what makes them tick, because intention sometimes gets lost in the feeling.
Yeah. Such a great point. Hello to you, Angel, over there on the Amazon on the Facebook side. Appreciate you for joining us as well. Also, Jeffrey over there on the YouTube side. I think I forgot to mention you guys too. Appreciate you being with us and watching us live. Keep in mind, if you guys are coming in late, the replay will be available on Amazon Live as well as the other platforms that we are joining in. But if you want to be able to get the books that we're talking about, definitely come over to the Amazon Live side so you can be able just to click down below, be able to get those. We're also going to let you guys know how to stay connected with Chris as well. So, Chris, I want to talk about this a little bit deeper because I think, you know, unfortunately, we live in a world. We see it today, and it's in the news. It's sad that it's in the news when someone's divorce is final, and that's something that people are celebrating. Or when someone's getting it, then you have, of course, the case of someone like Lisa Bonet, who's reunited with her husband. People are celebrating that too. Relationships are, especially in the world we live in today, everything now is out in the open. How
Mhm.
important is it for couples? I'm asking you this, Chris, for our audience. How important is it for us to make sure that what we are presenting in our relationship is actually genuine to the relationship?
You have to first know who you are in order to determine what you're going to present.
Mhm.
And Cyrus, a lot of times people will present a impression of who they are or a representative because they haven't taken the time to first ask certain questions for themselves. So it's very important to know who you are, and you can figure out who you are by taking the time to just sit with you.
Mhm.
If you find yourself relying solely on your partner, then that's not really what a definition of a relationship is. The relationship is two people coming together. It's 100, 100. It's not 50-50. You're bringing your
Mhm.
entire self into that relationship. So if you don't know all the parts of yourself or all those dimensions, then those pieces may come out and shock your partner as you're learning too who you are. So, I think that it's really critical to do that assessment work, to do that work independently before trying to come into a relationship.
Which is why people end up coming to individuals like you, the professionals. Chris, you say this in a book about therapy, and for those who have the print edition of the book is found on page 47 under the heading "Why Therapy Helps." You say this: Well-trained therapists take their time peeling off their clients' layers of thoughts, beliefs, and emotions in order to find out what is underneath the original problem or complaint that is brought into therapy. This process first starts by gaining the client's trust through establishing a rapport. Once a relationship is formed, the clinician can then develop a therapeutic alliance with the couple. The alliance is a steering wheel that allows the therapist to stimulate the client's sharing of thoughts, memories, and feelings from past experiences. When this process is in full effect, the therapist is then able to identify past traumas that drive the emotions supporting the problematic actions and behaviors. I wanted to read that, Chris, because that is a big responsibility. So, an obvious question might be, and I don't do any type of coaching. I don't do business coaching. I don't do any of that. I just do my thing. I interview people. I'm good at that. I read a lot of books, and the rest I leave to the professionals. But even in the work I do, I can have a conversation with somebody, and I do 4 of these a day, and parts of that conversation linger with me. I can only imagine as a therapist, in just reading that paragraph, how you have to become so entwined with each one of these couples. What is that like for you, and how easy is it for you or difficult for you to come out of each one of those situations?
When you become a therapist, to your point, you're describing how a clinician goes in and then is able to come out. The process of becoming a therapist, and I do a lot of supervision with other clinicians that are apprentice or associates, and I share with them the first time you sit down with a couple or an individual, your brain is going to split into 3 ways. The
Hmm.
first level is going to be who you are, your own personal thoughts. The first session I ever conducted in therapy, you're excited. Oh my gosh, I'm living out my passion. I'm being a therapist. This is amazing. The second brain is going to be what the clients are saying. You're in
Yeah.
tune to what they're saying, you're listening. That third brain is going to be filtering what they're saying through the models, the theories, the techniques, and the training. So it's 3 separate brains, and I'm able to let go of 2 of them when I leave. I let the models and the theories go. I allow the client's material and content to be confidential, so that won't be revisited to the next session or if I'm reviewing my notes. And then I get to regain that one brain, which is my thoughts and perspectives. So therapists are master compartmentalizers, and that's how we're able to do the work. Don't get me wrong, there are some cases or stories we hear that require long car rides home to be able to put that stuff away so I can be present for my wife and children. But it takes time and practice. And over the years of doing this work, I've been in mental health for over 15 years. So I've learned how to compartmentalize that, but I'm still human. So I hope
Right.
that really answered your question on how it doesn't ever really go away. You just
Yeah.
learn to put it where it needs to be so you can be human.
So let me ask you the opposite side of that based on the paragraph I read then, Chris, because again, for you to be able to get to a place where you just described, they have to be willing to give you that trust. How does that feel to be in a position where people are able to make themselves vulnerable enough to tell you the things that are broken about them and their relationship?
Lead by example. It feels natural and organic because when I have couples or individuals come into my office, I'm being Chris Matthews. I'm not trying to be someone that they expect me to be. I'm not trying to be the ideal TV therapist. And when you demonstrate authenticity by first being you, it makes it way easier for people to be themselves. And I believe that's why it's easy for me to establish alliance and rapport because I'm the same guy when you call and make the appointment. I'm the same guy when you sit down. I'm the same guy when you reach your goals. I'm not changing. I'm giving people permission to just be themselves. And sometimes we just need to see that. We need to see people
Yeah.
comfortable in their own skin.
Such a great point. Again, everyone, relationship expert and author Chris A. Matthews. This is the first of our series that we're doing here on Amazon Live, talking about his 2 books that you guys can be able to get today. He also has some workbooks as well. I'm going to be talking through about that as we're going throughout this month. But again, I have to give you guys a recap. We started off by talking. Let me go ahead and bring it back up on the Amazon Live site there about his ebook. There are 6 tips for finding your relationship fix. You guys can see it there. You can get it for $2.99 there on Amazon. We have it featured there in the carousel below. And then we have his book that's available in print as well as a Kindle edition I have the print edition, Finding Your Relationship Fix, The 4 Reasons Couples Seek Counseling. You guys can see it there. I'm going to highlight the Kindle edition first. That one is $9.99. And then you can get the print edition like I have for $14.99. Also want to let you guys know, as you guys see here, today's segment is powered by BiteCool. It's one of those laptops that Amazon says is great for what we're doing right now, which is streaming online. If you guys are doing a lot of that for work or even for connecting with family, it's a great laptop to be able to do that. I'm going to highlight it in the carousel there. They have it on sale right now for $279. It's great also for traveling. It's a slim design. It does come with Windows 10 Pro, but also a free upgrade for Windows 11. Also, as you notice, I was reading Chris's book on my Kindle. The Kindle is also on sale right now. This is the Kindle 7. This one is $49.99. I'm going to highlight it in the carousel there on the Amazon Live side. So if you guys are like, you know what? I want to get the $2.99 book. I don't have a Kindle. Well, now you can get the book and the Kindle and get the Kindle within 2 days with Prime shipping. So you guys can get both of those. Chris, I'm excited about this series as we're talking about the books and also the workbooks as we're going throughout this month. But how can our audience stay connected with you in the meantime?
So they can stay connected. I have a personal website, chrisamatthews.com. It's the spelling of my name, chrisamatthews.com. I can also be reached on YouTube and Instagram at Relationship Counseling Tools. Once again, Relationship Counseling Tools.
All right. And we've already tagged Chris over on Twitter as well, his account there. But definitely make sure you guys are staying connected with him online. Chris, congratulations to you again. Excited about this series with you as we're talking about your work and looking forward to next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Paulette says, I need a new Kindle. Paulette, on the Facebook side, you need to go ahead and get it. It's a good deal. Again, the one I have is the Kindle 7 for $49.99. You can find it with the link there on this broadcast as well. And we definitely thank all of you for tuning in to this episode of Cyrus Webb Presents here on Amazon Live. We'll be back with you guys on tomorrow with our show At Home with Cyrus Webb. We'll be bringing you guys great home deals for you guys. Chris will be back with us next week. So look forward to that as well. Make sure you guys are following us here on Amazon Live. You'll see the follow button either up here or down below. Click that follow button. You'll be notified every time that we go live. Until next time, I'm Cyrus Webb saying enjoy your day. We'll see you again soon. Take care.